Hey, what's up guys? It's the Working Gamer bringing guys another BeamNG Mod review. This time, it's not really exactly the same. I'll be answering a simple question. Which is better? The GT500KR made by Mehio or the Mustang Fastback by Bryce? Some might think this is a hard question, but if you think about it, after I show you the problems of each one, you'll start to see which one is better. Let's begin. Let's begin with the GT500KR. Now, from what I'm seeing, the engine is very nice. I mean, okay, maybe, I don't know. My opinions, okay. The only problem is that these rims, they sort of look like plastic. Another thing is, there's no shadow behind the rims, you know? So it's not baked onto the wheel itself. Now, I got quite a lot of information about these two mods from a anonymous modder. This is the truth. I'm not telling a lie. I actually got quite a lot of useful information and how I'm supposed to treat my mods in the future. There's actually not many big problems with this. For example, the real 0 to 60 time is very close to the one in real life. Also, it's a very fun mod as well. It looks very good as well. The way that the tires are as well. Okay, let's just go for a little crash, I guess. There we go. The J-beam is pretty good as well. If I check here by doing this, you can see that the J-beam clearly fits the car well. There's not really a problem on how the J-beam is working. And the J-beam is very important if you want something to crash more realistically. As you can see, everything seems to be in order. Nothing seems to be out of place. And if I were to press another set of keys here, let me just turn this off. Right now, okay. Now this is something else. Something that also checks the J-beam. It also works, as you can see. Most of it fits on properly. Nothing seems to be of an issue. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I explaining this? Well, as you can see, let me just do a small, rear hit, okay, like so. There we go. That's it. Very nice. Just flat. And if we were to check this, everything has moved as well, because that's how the J-beam is working with this. But if we were to check the other one, however, the other one, it's a bit different. It's a different case. One problem that we can clearly see, if we do this, is that some parts don't seem to be fitting on too well. For example, the most obvious one, the front bumper. As you can see, why is it like this, you're probably wondering? Well, this is actually based on the J-beam of the Bruckle Moonhawk. As you can see, even the door doesn't really match the door itself. This one seems more curved, more bent. This one seems more flattened. Another thing is, if we check the rear bumper, it sort of extends too much, the J-beam, as you can see. You can clearly see that. Whereas on the other one, if we were to check the other one, and we do the same set of keys, it doesn't seem to extend that much. This is how it's supposed to look like. It's not supposed to look like this. Now, you're probably wondering, why? Well, this one seems to have more work put into it. This one, not that much. And I'll be explaining why this one doesn't have that much work put into it. Now, I will explain it to you right now. You're probably wondering, what are the problems? Well, if we were to check something with the wheels, I'll clearly show you what's wrong. If we were to check this, let me just show it to you right now. These are the front brakes, as you can see. They're right here. Now, if we were to start to accelerate, please explain why the brake discs seem to be spinning in that motion. Look at that. it's like it's trying to run. Look at that. You're probably wondering, is there a problem with that? Of course there is. If we were to check the other one, however, and check the same one again, the same set of brake discs, you can clearly see that they are staying in place but moving as well. Not like the other ones where they're just moving away from the freaking brake caliper. And that's not how a car is supposed to work. This one seems to have quite a lot of issues. And let's check the interior. Now, what's the problem? You're probably wondering, what's the problem, right? Well, let me just clearly just show it to you. Why are the seats reflective? These are supposed to be leather. They're not supposed to be plastic. So why are they reflective? You can sort of see a tint as well. Another thing is, why is the interior sort of just, poly? Look at that. Basically, the textures are quite shiny, quite glossy. And, for example, look here. Let me just show you. Let me just show it to you guys, okay? If you don't believe me, let me just go a little bit slower. Now, as you can see, what happened to the textures in here, right here, where your feet are supposed to be in. Another thing is, why is the center of that dial so off center? That's not how it's supposed to look, as you can see. Look, it's not centered correctly. And another thing is, let me just quickly bring up the just a small UI app to show you another problem with this. Okay, I have now put cruise control on the left, and let me just show you what's the problem. Okay, now I've just stopped it at 20 miles per hour. Now, if we check the dial, the speedometer, one problem that you might find is where's the arrow? So, that's a big problem. How do you know how fast you're going? As you can clearly see, there's literally no arrow. Another thing is, these other gauges, these basically don't do anything. They're just basically just pictures. That's a big problem with this. It seems quite rushed. That's quite sad because mods are not supposed to be rushed. Mods are supposed to be given more. You have to put your heart into it. When you're creating a mod, because if you don't, then it's quite a bad mod. Honestly, you need it to look good, and that's the point. Another thing that you might find interesting is that, as you can clearly see, if we were to check how much horsepower this thing is, let's just quickly go and see how much horsepower. Now, this thing does 149 brake horsepower and a 0 to 60 in 10.1 seconds. Now you're probably wondering, what's the matter? Isn't that correct? Well, technically, sort of, but I mean, here, this is the Mustang Fastback Bullet, and this is the Drag. They both are the same. The problem is, this thing does 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and has apparently a power of 1,590 horsepower. The thing is, this is not true. If we were to just spawn it in, there'll be basically no difference. Now you're probably wondering, are you sure there's no difference? Yes, there is basically no difference at all, except for the wheels and the rims. Now, if you want to clearly see how fast this goes, let me just quickly show you. As you can see, very quickly, up to 40 miles per hour. If we were to use this one, up to 40 miles per hour as well. Oh, okay, there we go. Actually, both of these versions, actually, all variants, they're basically have the same power, and the true horsepower of this is not 1,590 brake horsepower. It's actually 281. This is quite strange. Now, if we were to open this UI app, this is a torque meter. Now, you can clearly see what it reads. 281 horsepower. Brake horsepower. It's not 1,590. So, what it's in the description is actually false. It's actually 281. I'm not really sure why he would put the same horsepower, but then also put falsified information. So it doesn't really make sense because they all have the same power, like I said before. It's just for some reason he put a different number in the description for the other two, the bullet version and the drag version, when in actuality they're all the same. Not really sure why. If you want more proof of this, let's move on to this one. It's the same one. You can clearly see it still says 281. And if you're saying this could be a bug, this one, as you can clearly see, says 303. This is a different mod. These two are the same mod, and yet they have the same brake horsepower. Okay, we've moved on back to this again. Now you're probably wondering if you want more proof of the J-beam problems. Let me just quickly show you the nodes. Now, you know what the nodes are. Come on, everyone knows what the nodes are. And if you can clearly see, these front bumper nodes, look, there's supposed to be a front bumper here, but there's nothing here because it's based on the Moonhawk body, a J-beam. So it's basically a Moonhawk just with a different body. That's the problem with this car, and that's quite a big issue actually, because now it doesn't have the best crash physics. Let me just quickly show them to you. If we were to just crash off these stairs and see the aftermath, I can clearly show you what the problems are. Let's quickly move this down here. Right now. Okay, there we go. Now, you're probably trying to ask, where are the issues? Now, you can clearly see many issues. Number one is the spikes. Look at these spikes. They look horrendous. Another problem is, if you I mentioned this in my previous mod review on this exact Mustang mod. If we clearly just open the hood, okay? We just open the hood, right? Okay. The hood is now open. Look, as you can see, on the other side, it is not. Again, the same thing is with the fenders. You can clearly see them there. On the other side, they are missing. Now, you're probably wondering, why? Now, this is actually quite easy. This can easily be fixed with a simple line of code if the creator, the developer of this mod, actually added it. It's so simple. All they had to do was actually just make double-sided true in the materials file, if they just added that in the code. But they didn't, so that's why we ended up with this. Another clear issue with this is, look at the engine textures. They don't look very good. Seriously, look at them. They are so poly. Now if we move on to this one, let me just quickly show you. This one definitely looks better. Number one, let me just take out the hood. Look at this. Much better. Look at this. Much better. On this one, very low poly. On this one, very nice. And they're basically the same engine, as you can clearly see with this. As you can see, it's right here. So, now you probably might think, do you think this is better? Well, in my opinion, yes. This one, the GT 500KR, is definitely better than this one. Now, I also explained this in my other, the same one I was telling you guys about, the other mod review. If we were to quickly hit the rear and crash it, the rear lights are still working, as you can clearly see, even from that hit. Whereas if we checked, remember, when we did that small hit into that wall, the lights broke on impact. But this one, the lights are freaking still there. That's another issue with this mod. Let me just quickly show you another issue. Now this thing has quite a lot of problems. Now let's move on to the configurations. Now, number one, if you're probably wondering, where's the front bumper? Well, if you attempt to put a front license plate, let me just quickly show you what it will look like. There it is, except it's not really on there. It's sort of just floating. Look at that. It's not even attached to the vehicle itself because of the Moonhawk bumper. That's what it's trying to place itself on. But of course, it doesn't recognize that it's supposed to actually go on this bumper, except it can't because it's based on the Moonhawk like I said before. Now, another thing is, have you ever wanted a boiler on the Mustang? Well, fear not, because we can actually do that. You want to see how it looks like? Honestly, I don't really want to show you this, show this to you guys, but here it is. Here's a plate spoiler, right there. Now, look at it. It's not even attached to it. Look at that. It's literally it's just floating there again, just like the front bumper. This thing has quite a lot of issues. Now the chrome stripping, where is it? There's no chrome stripping, as you can clearly see. Can you find it? No, you can't, cause it's not there. Another problem is, you guessed it. Well, I don't think you guessed it, but if you were to try to change the interior of the car, it's apparently on a beige interior. If we change it to black interior, there is absolutely no difference at all. Look at that. There's no difference. This thing, it's quite sad. Quite sad, actually. And let's check the engines we have. Oh, wait. Now I remember. All the variants have the same engine. That's why they have the same power. So that's why there's only one engine in this freaking mod. Let's try to apply a tow hitch. Will it attach itself to the car itself? No, it won't. Look at this. It's floating as well. Oh well, oh well. This car has quite a lot of issues. Now, you're probably wondering, is that it? Are we done with this now? No, we're not done with this now, because I want to show you guys just one more problem. Let's just flip this on its side. If it wants to. Come on. Flip. There we go. The exhausts are inside the rear bumper. Look at that. Look at that. The exhausts are not even connected to anything. They're actually going through the fuel tank. And then they're just trying to make themselves straight to the engine. This thing has quite a lot of issues. Now, let's just compare the crash physics of both, just to make you guys satisfied. Let me just quickly crash this down here. Downhill, and bam, and bam, and it will continue going down. Or it might stop. Oh, no. Nope. Nope. It's just going to go to continuously go down. Well, there it goes. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Ow. Now, here's the thing. On this one, not as much spiking. On this one, if we were to crash this again, like I showed you before, this one is going to have more spikes. This is just more like a spiky car. And down here we go. Stop. As you can clearly see, quite a lot of spiking here. Look at that. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. I just realized something. I just saw it right now. Flip this car over again. Let me just flip it again. Flip it down. There we go. What are these two black? Oh, what the heck? If we go close to it, they disappear. What are these two black objects? I literally have no idea what these are. What are they connected to? They're not connected to this. But what are they? I don't even know what the heck those are. This mod is quite rushed, quite broken as well. Now, this thing is also actually based on the Moonhawk J-beam. But the thing is, this was properly done. This was properly made for the body to fit on it. Another thing is, just like in real life, because with the rear suspension, if there's too much heavy acceleration, the rear starts to, move around. Another thing is that it has quite a lot of very nice variants, which are different in their own way. However, with this one, everything basically just the same variant with a different name, different wheels, and different rims. So in conclusion, you can probably guess which one I would choose. I would choose the GT 500KR because it's clearly built, well made actually, very nice. Um, However, this one needs quite a lot of work. Now, let me just quickly give my opinion. Let me just tell a couple of downsides with the GT 500KR. Number one, they could perhaps add more of a description, like when you're spawning the mod in, so that you can clearly see the true 0 to 60 time, the actual horsepower. So it could be so you wouldn't need like a UI app to show you the true one. Another thing is definitely fix the rim so it doesn't look so plasticky actually. But yeah, this one doesn't have many issues. This one, okay, like I said, quite a lot of issues that they can clearly fix it on. But apparently, from anonymous modder, they said that this guy doesn't really seem to be willing to fix these issues. And I would really want to thank this anonymous modder for helping me with all this useful information, so I could clearly make my mod reviews much more informative actually. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe, leave a like. Again, for the mod creators of both mods, please don't hate. This is just showing. This is a video showing the issues on showing the good sides of both vehicles. I would really appreciate if you don't go to the comments and just say bad things, about the review, because it's just an honest one. Anyways, I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Peace out.